There was a young woman named Alice who had just moved into an old, forgotten house at the edge of town. It was a strange place, cold even in the summer, and the air always seemed thick with a faint smell of decay. But Alice didn't mind. It was cheap, and she thought she could fix it up over time. In one of the rooms, she found an old mirror. Its frame was intricately carved, almost too detailed for comfort, depicting strange, twisted faces and eerie hands that seemed to reach out. She noticed it was dirty and covered in dust, but when she tried to clean it, no matter how much she wiped, there was always a smudge in the corner. It looked like a fingerprint, but no matter how hard she scrubbed, it wouldn't go away. That night, Alice felt an odd presence in the house, but she convinced herself it was just the wind. She went to sleep, but a soft voice woke her up, whispering her name. Alice. Alice. She sat up, looking around the room. Nothing. She was alone. The next day, she avoided the room with the mirror, feeling a chill every time she walked past the door. But eventually, curiosity got the best of her, and she decided to confront her fear. She stood in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection. And then, for just a second, she saw something move behind her. Alice spun around, but nothing was there. Heart-pounding, she turned back to the mirror and froze. Her reflection was smiling at her, but Alice wasn't smiling. Terrified, she stumbled backward. The reflection began to move on its own, raising a hand to the glass. The voice returned, louder this time, almost pleading. "Alice, come closer!" She ran from the room, slamming the door behind her, but the whisper followed her, echoing through the halls, growing louder with each passing minute. No matter where she went in the house, she could hear it calling, relentless. Desperate, Alice decided to cover the mirror with a sheet. As she did, the reflection still moved, pounding its fist against the glass, screaming silently, as though trapped. She backed away, horrified. That night, she barely slept. When she awoke, she found the sheet had been pulled off the mirror, and there, in front of the glass, stood her reflection, but it wasn't her anymore. Its eyes were hollow, its skin pale and gray, but it smiled that same twisted smile. She tried to leave the house, but the doors wouldn't open, as though something was holding them shut. The whispering grew louder, closer. Alice ran back to her bedroom and barricaded herself inside, trembling in the corner as the voice grew deafening. "Alice, join us!" Then there was silence. In the morning, the neighbors reported hearing strange noises from the house, but no one had seen Alice since. Days later, when authorities entered the house, they found it empty, except for a single dusty mirror in one room. The glass was cracked, but in the reflection, if you looked closely, you could just make out a faint, twisted smile. Some say if you listen carefully, you can still hear Alice's whispers in the dead of night, calling from the other side.